Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so I know it's been a while since I've been on camera. I've been moving a lot of things around, but I'm back on here today. Anyway, I just had to pop on here because the Giants have made two huge moves. Two huge moves that I didn't think they would be able to make. I knew they would be able to get one guy. I knew they were going to get one guy. But to get two offensive linemen is huge. But before I get to that, I'm going to get straight to the signings that we got to earlier on in the day. Not really impactful signings. Now, first I want to talk about some former Giant stuff. Will Hernandez is rumored to be signing with the Buccaneers. Good luck with that. Good luck with having Tom Brady back there behind Will Hernandez. That doesn't sound fun. Another former Giant, B.J. Hill, that we traded away, is getting $10 million a year to stay on the Bengals. $10 million a year over the next 3 years to stay on the Bengals. There's been a bunch of other crazy signings in the league, but I won't go into those. Either way, those two former Giants look like they're doing something. Evan Ingram is getting a one-year deal all the way worth up to $10 million to go to the Jaguars, so he's gone. Some people thought he might come back here on a one-year proven deal, but he decided to go to Jacksonville. Good luck to Evan Ingram. He's not going to be dropping passes from the Giants anymore. But anyway, the Giants signed Robert Foster pretty much shortly after that deadline happened, so right after, maybe about 1 o'clock, an hour after everything happened. They signed Robert Foster. He was on the Washington football team. He was also on the Bills, which that's their Bills connection right here. We got the Bills staff here pretty much. So that's your Bills connection. We signed Robert Foster. He had a decent season, about 500 yards. I forgot how many catches, but about 500 yards in 2018 with Josh Allen as a rookie. He showed off some speed. He ran a 4.41. Pretty much Darius Slayton type of guy. But he's not someone that I expect to even make the team. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I think that's more of a depth signing, a guy that you know, and, give him a shot to make the team. Other than that, that wasn't too eventful. I wasn't really thinking too much of that. CJ Board, we signed him back. We brought David Sills back. Of course, all of these guys are signing for pennies. Matt Gano, we already know he signed. That's old news. He's got some starting experience. Some of your other favorite Giants YouTubers will probably walk you through that one. But so it gets quiet. It gets quiet. And then all of a sudden, I just see a tweet pop up. Mark Glowinski, 3 years, $20 million, $11.4 million guaranteed. He's going to be 30-year-old in May. 6'4", 310 pounds. He was on that Colts offensive line. He was on the Seattle offensive line before that. I think he was there while they were running the ball with Marshawn Lynch and doing their thing that way. But he was on the Colts offensive line most recently. One of the better lines in the league. Dominant run blocking offensive line. Yes, he played with Quentin Nelson. Yes, he played with Ryan Kelly. I'm not sure. Did Ryan Kelly retire? I can't remember. But I know he played with a dominant center. He played across from Quentin Nelson. Didn't play beside him, but played across from him. He's played on a very good offensive line. And there's no doubt that those offensive linemen around him helped make him a better player. But he is a veteran. This is exactly what we were looking for. A guy, he's going to turn 30 in May, as I said, so he's still fairly young. He's in his 20s. Guards play into their 32, 33, 34 sometimes even longer than that. 74 games started. He's got a ton of experience. A ton of experience as a starting offensive lineman in the NFL. I'm pretty sure he's played center, he's played guard, he's played tackle, which is perfect when you don't know if you'll be drafting an offensive lineman in the first round or not, if you're going to be drafting, when you're going to be drafting a guy and what position he'll be at. That's all up in the air. So perfect signing. And I was happy with just that. Again, 74 games started. Plays pretty much all the snaps every year. Only gives up about 2 to 3 sacks a year. Most of the time, interior guys don't give up a ton of sacks, but didn't give up too many sacks a year. Not too many penalties. In 2018, I think he had 10 penalties, which was a complete outlier. But for the most part, it's just a solid starting offensive lineman, which is perfect. That's what we wanted. So he'll be here for 3 years. Hopefully he'll be here for 3 years, and he's going to be one of the foundational pieces to go along with Andrew Thomas. And the next guy that we signed, Jon Feliciano. So Jon Feliciano was a guy that we all thought the Giants would be targeting. He was a guy that got cut, I think last week or 3 or 4 days ago by the Buffalo Bills. And we were all thinking he was the guy we'd be targeting, along with Darrell Williams, who got cut earlier today. And it wasn't Jon Feliciano that we targeted first. It was Mark Glowinski. But Feliciano eventually was signed later on, about an hour and a half after Mark Glowinski. He's not as experienced as Glowinski, even though they're pretty much the same age. He's already 30 years old, but he's only played 39 games. And when I say played, I mean started 39 games so far. He's been a rotational guy. He's been a guy that moves around, but he has guard experience. He has center experience. And again, that is perfect for what we're doing. We don't know if we're going to draft a guard in this draft. I think Glowinski has some tackle experience. Do I want him to play tackle for us? Not really. But they're saying that we signed Feliciano to play center. So I'm thinking that means that Nick Gates, center is over for Nick Gates. If he wants to make this team, he's probably going to have to play guard and push a guy like Glowinski out to tackle. Nick Gates might also get a shot at tackle, or he just may be your rotational interior offensive lineman. That's assuming that Nick Gates can come back and be the same guy, or be 80% of the same guy that he was, which is a shame because I believe that he was a good center in the NFL, but you cannot depend on him to coming back from that injury. But we have some good depth, because if he does come back, that means that you have 3 starting offensive linemen, 3 starting caliber offensive linemen right there. Nick Gates, Feliciano, Glowinski, 3 guys that you feel really good about. You also have Shane Lemieux coming back off his injury. You're also going to have a lot of chances to take an interior offensive lineman in this draft. Looking at Kenyon Green, looking at Zion Johnson, looking at a ton of other guys, Salyer from Georgia. A ton of interior guys are going to be there to start on the interior of the offensive line. All we're looking at is tackle. I didn't think they would have the money to get a starting level tackle. I think they'll probably get a rotational guy. They got Gano. I think they're going to probably get a couple of other guys that are around that level. They'll be there just in case we can't get a tackle in the draft or elsewhere in free agency or trade. But if not, Gano, I think he's got some starting experience. But I do think that the Giants are going to target a tackle early on in this draft. I think that if the first 2 are gone, they'll take Cross. I think, of course, if one of the first 2 are there, they'll take them. But these are huge, huge moves that I didn't expect. I thought that the Giants would have to either double up and get 2 offensive linemen with like an average of about $8 million combined. So about $3 or $4 million each. Or, they would just get 1 guy who was about $8 million each. But they got 2 guys. Now, we don't have the numbers on Feliciano. I've been looking. I've been checking. Maybe it's up now. But I've been refreshing. I haven't seen the numbers for Feliciano. But it looks like it's a 1-year deal for him. So that means that he's not, guaranteed to be here after this year. But it also means that he's on a prove-it deal. So we can get a good year out of him. Take an offensive lineman in the 4th, 5th round. Develop him and insert him as the next center, or insert him as the next guard and move someone else to center. But I like the way that this offensive line is being built. Joe Schoen said that you don't have to go to the top, pay the most amount of money or, draft somebody in the top of the draft to get a good offensive lineman. And I think he's right in this case. I do want him to go ahead and take an offensive lineman 1st round. But these 2 guys that he signed, I believe, are 2 starting caliber offensive linemen, much better than what we've had. Now you're looking at Andrew Thomas. You're looking at Glowinski at one of the guard spots. Just throw him at left guard. You're looking at Feliciano. And now you got 2 more spots to fill. So you got to think that Shane Lemieux and Nick Gates are in the mix at one of those spots. You got to think that they're going to draft a couple of offensive linemen in this draft. So I feel really good about this offensive line. This offensive line could possibly be rebuilt. We had to find 4 new starters, and we already got 2. And it's first day of free agency. Didn't expect this to happen. Again, Matt Gano is an under-the-radar guy that could possibly take that right tackle spot. But I think we're going to get ourselves a rookie that's going to come in here and fill that up. But other than that, what am I looking for the Giants this free agency? I haven't gotten to put out a formal video on this, but I'm thinking that the Giants are going to target a tight end, some linebacker depth, nobody expensive, obviously. I'm thinking they're going to get, you know, a journeyman type of tight end, a guy that's going to be about $3 or $4 million a year at most, someone who probably can block. And then in the draft, you have a ton of tight ends that can catch and block. But I think they'll probably get that one veteran tight end in free agency, draft a guy. And I think this is pretty much all I wanted out of free agency. A veteran offensive lineman. Joe Schoen gave us 2. So far, so good. That's pretty much all I got to say about this situation. I think that this was absolutely a great move, a great first day by Joe Schoen. And we'll see what happens as we continue to go forward. And by the way, I would not let people continue to not give Kevin Abrams credit for managing this cap and getting these deals done, because every year we say we have no money and every year we're able to make things like this work. So you guys let me know what you think of the offensive line. Did we fix it? What else do we need to do to fix it? Do you like the 2 guys that we signed? You guys have a great day. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.